Good afternoon. My name's Delia. Uh, the short video today is going to be about how I have over the years changed, and everybody does it. You get your equipment. You get either you're working on a dining table, or if you're lucky enough, you have a room where you can set things up. So people's workspace is their own private space, and they lay it out so that it works well for them. And over the years, I've had different things because I've run the art room in Scarborough, which was a shop where you could get artist materials, but it was also a place where people could come and do some workshops on with watercolor, color pencils, pastels, all sorts of different materials. And we ran children's clubs, all things like that. So when I came out. We lived in a house then, but now we're in a bungalow. But when we lived in the house, I sort of took over one of the bedrooms, and that became where my art was. But everything got sort of spread out further and further. And, I was finding I was getting up to find this, getting up to find that. Things were put back differently. So it got quite confusing. So since we've moved here, I've sort of sat and purposely thought about how I work, the process I go through when I'm doing a commission or something, or a drawing, or even a video. So I think about the process and how it works, and how I can get things to look tidy, neat, a nice area where it's not over claustrophobic, so I don't feel like oh God, I can only do 10 minutes and then I've got to be out of here. So I've got space to work and I can relax and enjoy what I'm doing. So I have streamlined a little bit of how my workplace is. And everybody else's will be different. It all depends on what everybody wants. But where I am at the moment, I'm sat in an area. I mean, we are having a studio put in the garden. So once I move in there, this layout is going to be pretty much the same, but in there. So I've got to transfer everything into there. And also we will be having a table and some chairs and things so that I can do some face-to-face tutorials again. But my workspace will be more or less as I've got it now, because it works for me. It might not work for you, but it works for me. So let me go through it a little bit with you. Now, obviously, you're looking here at this dog. This is one of the latest commissions I've just done. So I'll change the camera so that you can see from the other camera, you'll be able to see basically. I'll move the camera around. So this camera's on, whoops, on a little tripod, but I'll just move it around so you can see basically. So as you can see, this is the desk. I'm sat on an office chair. This desk is it is an artist's desk, and it's actually tilted. It's not level, it's tilted. Working on a bit of a tilt is easier for me. I find it the easiest way to work. It's more comfortable position. I'm not crouched over. It doesn't hurt my shoulders or my neck. I can sit back and see the piece that I'm working on. And then also, as you can see, straight in front of there is an iPad where I can fetch the image up and zoom into the image. So let me just, so there, this is a photo from which I've worked. So I can zoom into whichever part I'm working on. And also I can get the colours from there. I do have a second iPad here, which this has got a program on it called Procreate. And it's this what I use to do my line drawings and also pick my colour palette. It helps me with the colour palette of what sort of colours, whether it's a warm area or a cool area. And then I can have a look in my core set of pencils. Now, my core set of pencils are kept in this box here, underneath my desk. So these are the pencils which I use mainly. I mean, there's some luminance in there, there's polychromos in there, there's light fast in there, and there's some Pablos in there, and there's a few of the Derwent ones as well. So they're kept in there, and they're sort of one each of all the sort of main pencils that I use. And then if we just turn over there, right in the distance, you can see a couple of pots. Well, they're sort of my spares that I mean, like certain colours I do buy in bulk, so they're in there. And then obviously, let me just sit back a little bit. So now, as you can see, I've got my microphone there, and then behind this is one of the cameras. So when you were seeing this dog straight down, and when I'm doing a tutorial, that is the camera that is working then. And then there's another light here, and then there's a light there. It's because the lighting in this space isn't that good. Once we get into the proper studio, it will be absolutely great daylight. There's lots of windows in there and double doors, so there'll be lots of natural light going in. And then just behind my iPad, I have the two drawers, and in here, this is where I keep my sort of graphite pencil. So I do graphite drawings from time to time, and so I have a full set of graphite pencils. Plus, I have like all the other tools that I use when I'm doing a graphite drawing. So they're easy enough for me to get hold of. And then I've also got, so I can interchange this depending on what medium I'm using, but I do mainly use colour pencils these days. As you can see there, I've got, this was gifted to me by a very good friend. And she got me this. I mean, most of you will probably know I lost my son December 2023. So it's been a tough couple of years. It's still going on with the police and everything, but it's the art that's got me through it. John used to love watching me do my art, and my friends, you know, they've stood by me and supported me. And I always have that on the desk when I'm working. And then also I've got, if you look up there, I've got my son with his thumb up watching me, and doing the art is, I feel like I'm close to him. And it does help me get through things and difficult times. Now then, moving on. This mat here is because the desk, oops, sorry about that, because the desk is tilted. Obviously, if I put a pencil on, you'd think it'd roll down, but this is quite good because it's a grip. It's sort of got a grip on it, so things don't slide down so easily. I'm not saying they wouldn't, because it's glass underneath. It is pure glass. You can see there, that's the glass. But I've put this on so that I can work at a tilt and I can still operate perfectly okay. So there's my computer, obviously, you can see there. So my keyboard and my mouse are just here at the side of me, so I can just turn around and there I have my keyboard and my mouse. This is something I picked up from B&M. It's only a couple of pounds. So once, if I'm doing a project and I've picked the pencils that I need for that specific project, I put them in here. So this side, I have all the mixed pencils, and then this side I keep for polychromos, because they're the ones I do use the most. And as you can see here, we've got, just pop those down there. We have got lots of little bits of pencil, which when I use them, I put them in a pencil extender. Or if they get so small, I sort of take the ends off and then I glue the ends together, and then I've got a double-ended pencil which I can put in the sharpener. Now, if they get really small, I use just a little metal sharpener, but normally I do use my crank sharpener. I've got several of those, and they're brilliant for getting the points that I need. I have a puffer there for to get rid of all the loose dust, my kneadable erasers, everything. And then at the top, there is a tub there that's got just general stationery in it, like pens and a brush there and what have you. And I've got my masking tape up at the top. Now, as we come down, so this desk here is on my right, I'm right-handed. So on the desk here, there's some pencil holders things there. So I've just stuck some loose, empty pencil extenders. And then if you look here, I've got some tubs. I'll put them up here because they don't slip. Now, because I use polychromos a lot, and in nearly every project that I do, I use the warm greys and the cool greys. So what I've done to make it easier, rather than just put them in the tub with all the other pencils and then have to sort through them all, these are, I think they came with prawn cocktails in them, to be quite honest, when we bought one of these meal deals at the supermarket. So I've recycled them, and because some of the pencils get really short so they can see them. So in this one, See, we've got a couple of glued ones. There's one there and a pencil extender. These are all the warm greys. So I've got all the warm greys there, and then these are all the cool greys in this one, and they're kept, the two pots are kept there at the side. Then as you move along, there's two more pots. Now these are for the very smaller pencils. So rather again than put them in the tub with the core pencils and then get lost, because these are smaller, they're obviously the ones that I use more. So what I've done is I've separated out the luminance and the polychromos. So the polychromos fit in here. And these are for the smaller ones. So my first port of call when I'm looking for colours, instead of going straight to the box, I first of all look in these little tubs. So they've come in very useful and very handy. So because I use luminance and polychromos mostly. And then if you look at this one here, this has got all the whites and the like ivories, and it's got the blacks in as well. So we've got sort of that's the light best black. We've got the luminance, got the polychromos, and I've got the tableau there. But we've also got sort of whites, and then we've got that's the pink white from the luminance, got the ivory, and I do have from the light fast range. One of the good things about them, they have these sort of, it's a white, it's almost a white, but it's got a blue in it. So that's the Arctic one, and then we've got one here that's an oyster, so that's got a pinky colour in it. So I keep them all separate because they're easier for me to get hold of, again, rather than in the pots, because they are used a lot. Then next to that, what I have is, this is my tub that's got all my like battery eraser. It's got my embossing tools. It's got my Tombow rubbers. It's got my slice tool, precision tool, a couple more of the extenders. So that's there. That's easy for me to get hold of. And then this tub is for, this has got all my sort of Apple Pencil replacement heads, and it's got the rubber, the replacements for the rubbers there. And then that's it. So then I come back to my keyboard and my mouse. So everything is at hand. I haven't got to keep getting up, moving around, searching through drawers and cupboards. Everything is here. Now, if I changed and I just wanted to do some watercolours, all I would do is just lift this off, put this in one of the drawers over there, take the watercolours out, and then I have a brush case that stands up. So these would just sit on the top of there, just put my brushes and my palette and my water there, and I'm ready to go for watercolour. So this works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I find it's an ideal way of working. I mean, I've got some wires at the minute because I'm recording, but normally they're coiled away, so they're out of the way. And as I say, I've got a couple of ways of recording. This is the one, this one here is the one that looks down when I'm doing tutorials. This is just another webcam that I can move around. And then I do also have a Panasonic video recorder, which I do use sometimes as well. And that fits on something like this, so it can hang down. But I do find these are the two cameras, is that one there and this one that I'm holding now. They're the two cameras that I use the most to do the video with. So this has just been a quick show round of how I work, my workspace, how it's organised, everything's put away, and it's just all at hand, and it's quite tidy. It doesn't look too scruffy when anybody comes in the house. I do have headphones when I'm on my computer, so I don't disturb other people, which are here. So I have separate headphones there for my computer, and I also have some wireless ones here for when I'm using the iPads. So I mean, you know, some of the equipment is expensive, and I've built it up, but you don't have to have an iPad. You can have any sort of tablet, really. It works the same. But when it comes to the equipment for your artwork, then what I suggest is, okay, you don't need the full sets of everything. So just buy a couple of some of each brand and try them and see how they work for you. But what you also must remember is that the pencils, like polychromos, they work differently or they have a different finish on different papers. So I would suggest to people to try all the different papers. So let's now go back to the other camera. So put that one down. There we go. That's whoops. You stand that one there. So that's stood there out of the way. So as I say, this is the camera you will see me using mainly, and it's where I'm working. So it's up at a slight angle as well, so you get quite close to the work that I'm doing. But as I say, it's better for me when you're actually sat upright. You're not bent over a desk, and your head doesn't get in the way of the camera. So that's it basically. The stand that this camera's on it's a bit like there is one on Facebook called Olivia, I think they call it. It's very similar to this, but I just have it perched on my box of pencils, and it has one long arm with the lamp on, and then it has this shorter lamp that comes across, and I've just fixed my camera. Let me just quickly whip back to the other camera. If you have a look, so the box is there, and then it has this tall arm that you can raise and adjust. That has the lamp on it. And then coming from here, from this side, you've got this other one. And this all folds down, so it closes. It all goes down, pushes down, so it all closes. So it's portable, basically. So this arm can push back in. Then what I've done is I've put this extended arm on, this extended piece on, and then using a bit of makeshift metal there, I've actually put this on and cable tied this camera on, because this camera works well. It's a stream cam, it's a Logic stream cam, but it's got good clear footage. So that's basically it. And this light here is just an extra light that's attached by a clamp onto that board. So I mean, I was lucky enough to find that in a shop, and it was only £10 for the stand. So you can shop around and just get things and make do things. The cameras that I use aren't that expensive either. They're not big. I don't spend hundreds of pounds on them. My speaker, that was I think I paid about £50 for that, but it is quite a good quality speaker. So, so I was quite lucky there. The video camera I've had for years. And then like my pencils are good quality, but like I say, like things like recycling these little pots like this, things like that. Rather than just going out and buying something fancy. I mean, I have had other ways where I've stored pencils in blocks, in a wooden block with holes in, but that was when I had a studio where I had a shelf just above me, just there in front of me, so I could display all the pencils. But the situation I'm in now, I can't. So I've got this desk, and I've got a little desk at the side. So it's like an L shape. My computer's in the corner, so I've got everything that I need at hand. And I have one of those multiple USB charging things, so I can just stick all the chargers in there, so everything can be charged on here, and everything is in one place. And it has made it easier. And it's easier to keep, everything in its place. So I know where everything is. So when we move into the studio, everything should be the same except for the lighting. The lighting will be one heck of a lot better than what it is at the moment in here. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to get your pencils prepped. And most artists, if you look at them online, you'll find they do have core sets. In other words, they're the pencils that they use mostly, and they get to know the pencils. I mean, that is the best way of learning, is by experimenting with colours, and polychromos especially, because the luminants are quite opaque, they're waxy, and the polychromos are oily pencils. They're quite hard pencils, but they're sort of semi-transparent. So you can actually mix the colours on the paper that you're working. So even though you're wanting a black finish like this up here, I didn't put a black straight on there because it would just look flat. So you build it up by using other colours. So The other thing you have to consider, is it in a warm area? Is it in a cool area? And black, just through experience, when you're working with black animals, you'll find that there's some warmer areas that have browns in them, like a chocolatey colour, and then the black on top. I mean, this side here's got a few browns in it, because it was quite warm on this side here, and even in the shadows. But on this side, there's some blues because it was quite cool. So, I mean, this area here is quite a blue area. Um, so you get used to how the pencils work, and you get the finished look by actually layering and layering and layering. They're very light layers, and you layer quite a lot to get to this finished effect. And it's same with the white. For you to get an effect on the white, you just keep layering and layering different colors, because white isn't just pure white. So I do use polychromos quite a lot, but I stick to, it's not a limited palette, but I've got certain colours that I know I will use in almost every painting. So like the greys, as I say, are out there. And obviously you can see just by how small these are, things like the flesh colours, the blues, some of the light blues for the eyes and things. We've got the Caput Muntum, the Burnt Ochre, Payne's Grey, we've got the Bista and the Nugget. Them sort of colours and burnt sienna I use quite a lot because I do a lot of animal portraits, but in human portraits as well, they're used for skin colours. And then in the luminance range, I did buy the full set in the beginning, but now I just replace them with single stock. And the ones that I use mainly out of the luminance are the percentage ones. So in something similar to, like, you've got sepia, you'll have sepia, then you'll have sepia 50% and sepia 30%. Then you've got other colours like the burnt sienna, or no, what's the burnt ochre? You've got the burnt ochre 10% there, and then you'll have a burnt ochre 50%, and then the burnt ochre itself, and then this one's the brown ochre. So the percentage ones are brilliant when it comes to layering up and layering the colours, and then getting the colours that you're looking for. That's a burnt sienna, 10%. So they're really good, and I do make sure I have them in stock. And as I say, all of the greys from the polychromos, there's warm greys and cold greys. It's one of the pencil sets that do have quite an extensive range of greys. So they are used a lot. But I do also have all the greys from the light fast range and from the Pablo and from the luminance range, all in this box here. So sometimes, because some of them, especially like the Pablo ones, are a little bit bluer sometimes. So for the cooler side, if you want the bluer version, the Pablo. But it's taken me a while to build these sets up. So, don't go out and just buy all these pencils. Just start with a set which you think. And value for money wise, I would say the Polychromos is one of the better quality for the best money, for the best value. The Caran d'Ache ones can be quite expensive, but the polychromos are quite reasonable price for what you're getting, and they do last a long time. So that's it. And then, as I say, the other things we use, the main other bits of tools that we use, I have a little sandpaper thing there. I've got my ceramic blades. That's a precision one. So this is a really, really, I don't know if you can see it. It's a very tiny blade there. So that's for some real precision stuff. We have the Tombos, which you've got the rectangular one, and then you've got like a little round one, and you get the refills for them. I've got sort of the embossing tools. Then I've got a battery operated eraser that goes round, and you can actually shape that as well with the sandpaper. So they're the other tools that I use. And then, as I say, I do have the puffer, which takes the dust away. If you use a brush, sometimes you can still cause a bit of a smear, but if you're using this, it's a lot easier. And then I have the malleable rubbers, and then like a little plastic rubber as well. And that's it really. But everything's at hand. Everything's there for me to get straight on with the project. So I'm not hunting through drawers. So, it is worth spending time thinking about how you process your work, what pencils you use the most, how you can best store them, where they can be seen and where they can be reached easily. And that should make your work flow a lot better. So, plan your work from the beginning. So, like I say, the iPad I've got here with Procreate on, I do all my prep on there, so I can do all my line drawing. I can do my colour palette on there if I'm struggling to see some colours. So I can do most of it on there. And then I have my photographs on this other iPad, which is an older one. And then I just crack on and do the work from here. Okay, so I will be showing you some of my work as I go along on YouTube over the next few months. And as I say, I've got commissions coming in, and once I get into the new studio, things will be improved greatly. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope it's given you a few ideas. And see you again in the near future. Bye.